Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Satori and Whole Soul podcast.
Me.
Today, we're going to be talking about partying, drugs, and medicine. So, right now, we are actually in festival season where we live right now in Playa Vinao, Panama, for Reactor, and we've partaken in this festival and many different festivals over the last 2 years. 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
2 years. And yeah, have been on a big journey through the festivals, through partying, through using different medicines. And yeah, this time was different. We went to a sunrise this morning, which was super beautiful. The music was amazing, but there's been some shifts within us that I want to share because I think it's been super profound to have these realizations as we went to this party and felt the energy, felt the field, and really just through that have been having these like beautiful revelations about ourselves and what we actually want in life and our path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you start? That was a really good context.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll start with the fact that I was super excited for this festival, right? Like, we both love music so much, and I'm here for the music, for the festival. And this morning, we woke up at 4 a.m. to go to the sunrise set, and it was super beautiful. But as the morning went on, as we were there for like an hour, and then an hour and a half passed by, I was just observing the crowd and what I was feeling in my body, and what I noticed was that I felt more alone in a room full of people than
our community
than with myself. And it felt very isolating and almost just made me sad. Not even, I think I was just really aware of what was coming up in my body and what I was feeling, but yeah, we're surrounded by our community, people having fun, people dropping in on medicines, drinking alcohol, whatever, having an amazing time. And I went into it also feeling like really good. Like, yeah, I was tired, but I feel like I was really in the music for the first 30 minutes. But when the sun started coming up, I started feeling super drained, and like it was really hard for me to connect with people because I feel like I've been in a space where I just want to be in peace with people and just be in presence, and it just seemed like no one was really in that space, which is okay, it's the party, but like that's not what is fulfilling to me anymore. So I don't know if you want to add, because there's a lot to this, but
well, I think you're on a good thread.
Yeah.
Do you want me to add, or do you want to keep going on that thread?
Go, because I lost my train of thought.
Presence and connection in a natural and organic way feels so good. And that is really what my revelation was wow, okay, here we are on this beautiful mountain that is so pristinely set up in the most beautiful way. And the music is so good, and so many people are so happy. But the vibe is dead outside of my own inner beingness. Because in my own self, I'm like, okay, I'm here. This is so beautiful. This is beautiful. This is amazing. But there was still this feeling of, but wow, this is not where I want to be. And these are not the people that I want to be around. And it is nothing to do with the people, and it's more so to do with the energy. And there's a huge discrepancy between these, because all of these people could be in a higher vibration and frequency that I would love to be with, but they're not in that moment. So maybe we can give more context to like partying versus drugs.
Yeah, totally.
or drugs versus medicine.
Right. So something I do want to add is that I feel like the energy that we've both noticed and that I feel so strongly is that there's this like looping energy, because we've done the party many times here in like the same places, and just going back to it as like an observer, to be there with the music, it was so interesting to just like witness the loop, and like it felt so stagnant and like not expansive anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful to drop in on medicines because we've both had consciousness altering experiences, mind altering, heart altering experiences with substances like MDMA, ketamine, acid, but mushrooms. But after a certain point, it's like, whoa, you know, like, are you going to keep using and in many cases abusing those substances?
Yeah.
Because what I feel is that it's really beautiful to use those as medicine a few times, you know, in special moments with special people that you love. But I believe, and I know that we both believe, that when you use these medicines, you access a higher state of consciousness, and that gives you the gateway to know and remember that you can access those states without medicine. And the work, the actual work to get to those higher states of consciousness is when you're not on the medicines, you know? And it's like the space of integration where you got to like put in the work with your human, you know? And I feel the energy that I felt was that the party and like the drugs and the medicine is used as an escape, and it kind of feels like this energy of being lost. It's like, what is everyone actually doing here? And that's like where the loop energy came.
Wow. That was really well put. And I couldn't agree more. And it was so obvious for us to see, because when you live in a very small community where there's less than 500 people that actually live here, and you see the same faces for a long enough period of time, and then you go back into a setting like that and you see the same faces saying the same things, listening to the same music on the same mountaintop, and you can't help but wonder, wait, why are they still so stoked about this? And it's not to say it's a bad thing. It's just that for us, we've come to this place of feeling like this no longer resonates with our souls. Yeah. And actually what it feels like is the antithesis of a resonation. In fact, it's more like a, whoa, I don't ever want to come here again. Yeah. Because this is draining.
It's almost like a repulsion to the energy of that. And I want to like clarify, it's not the people.
Not the people at all.
The energy. It's like the essence of that, of the partying and using the drugs and the medicine, the alcohol, just that whole vibe is so draining.
So I want to give context, like the drugs versus medicine. This is such it ties into what you just said. Drugs and medicine is the same thing. If you define the word drugs, you're going to see that it says a drug is a medicine. Okay, that's great. But these words have different energies behind them. And so to me, a drug is something that goes very well with a party. And a medicine is something that goes very well with a ceremony. And when we were on the mountaintop this morning and feeling into that energy, that was a party. Yeah. When we were talking to people about what was coming up, it's a party. Everybody's saying there's a party. You come to the party, the party, the party. Great. I don't mind that word. We can use any word that we want. It's not a big deal. But I think that the people who are using drugs, which is also medicine, we're talking about the same thing here, but we're just talking about the discrepancies between the energy in which it's used. People that are using drugs are partying, and they're not doing the work to realize the state that they're given access to when they're using the substances after using them. And then the people that are dropping in on medicine in a much more sacred manner not a partying manner.
With intention also.
With a lot of intention. And these people, and again, we're really generalizing here, so you can't just like point out and be like, "Whoa." It's like, no, it's super contextual. That energy of medicine and much more ceremonial for healing purposes feels so much more alive and beautiful and rich and sacred. And it didn't feel at all like that.
Yeah, totally. And I want to say too, like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with partying or like using medicine.
It's actually like the funnest thing in the world.
It's the funnest thing in the world.
There's a part of my soul that's like, aw.
I know, for sure. And I feel like it's changed my life and our lives in so many beautiful ways because it was done with mindfulness and intention. But doing it over and over again is what's like, holy shit, we can't. It's like taxing on the soul. It's like, whoa, like we want to grow and evolve and expand our consciousness. And like by repeating that cycle over and over again, then we're like kind of stuck in this stagnancy loop.
Yeah.
That keeps us in the same state of consciousness. And it's not to say that, like you said earlier, when you're dropping in on medicines and like doing it over, you're not integrating. I feel like there's people that do the work in between and sober states, but they keep going back to it. And that's addiction. That's like the fine line of where addiction begins. It's like, whoa, like how often are you using this? And why are you doing it so often? It's like taxing on your health and your body.
I feel like it's so subjective. You really have to feel into your heart. And it has to be a calling of, I really want to do this. This feels so good.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, okay, great. But that fine line of, is it a heart calling or is it an addiction pattern loop, is where you need to really look within, because no one else can tell you. Yeah. Nobody else can say, hey man, you're looping, unless you have holy company around you and someone who you can go to and say, look, I don't really know. What do you think? Yeah. And hopefully that person that you ask is somebody that you would consider an angel who would tell you only the truth.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, like last year after Envision, there was a time where I was like questioning it in my mind. I was like, whoa, is this like starting to become a pattern of mine?
Yeah.
And it's something that I really looked at and I was like, whoa, like I know I'm not addicted, but like, why do I keep doing this so often? And I think that was just like a season of like the expansion, like the hype of it, and like just being surrounded by so many beautiful people and like beautiful places, and we were just like in it. But yeah, I feel like I don't know. I want to say too, like,
I have a good thread.
There's no judgment in this, and we're not judging anyone that does this. But I feel like personally for me, and I know for you too, we are on this path of, just like expansion. Yeah. Like to the highest degree. Yeah. And like coming back to a state of inner peace or enlightenment, which some people would say. Satori. Becoming whole, the whole soul.
Becoming whole. Wow,
like that's literally it. And I think it's beautiful to share our journey and our revelations as we go through life, because this is a big one.
This one was huge.
When we came home, we were like, whoa. Holy shit, we need to drop in on a podcast, because wow, we were just going back and forth all morning, just like sharing what was coming through for us. Yeah. Also, one more thing before you share, I wanted to share this because I walked up to you, I think like an hour in, and I was just standing on the side of the mountain. The sun was coming up. It was still kind of dark. And I walked up to you and I was like, wow, I feel like this is a moment that I will see when my physical body dies, and I like see all the scenes in like when moment. I die. And I will just see myself standing here like outside of the party, just like vibing on my own in my own peace. And I'm going to cry. Well, like not cry because I'll be in spirit form, but like I almost cried when I had that realization. Wow. Like even speaking about it now, I'm getting emotional, but like, I feel like that was a big moment for me in realizing like, wow, this is so beautiful and I'm so grateful to be here, but like this isn't it for me.
Wow.
And like it used to feel like, wow, this is it, you know, like we're here, we're together, we're
Yeah.
connecting, we're with the people we love, we're partying, dropping in on medicines with intention. But yeah, it's like, no, that's not it for me anymore. And
Yeah.
I think that was a realization of the shift within me of like, no, I just want to be in nature. I'm craving solitude, whether that be with you or like holy company that wants to be in peace and like feels harmonious in peace. And like, that's what I want. I want a cleanly space. I want to feel organized and like clear. Yeah. Just want to be like a clean being, you know, energetically,
Clean
spiritually,
and
physically.
And organized.
Yeah.
And clear.
Simple. Like it's
hygiene.
so simple. Yeah.
That makes me think about when I was like flying on MDMA, but naturally. And
can you give context to that? Because I'm sure not a lot of people will know.
There was a period in my life where it's basically like you're on MDMA. In the Hawkins scale of consciousness, to give a scientific reference to this, there's a map of 0 to 1,000. And when you get to the high 500s in that level of consciousness, it's a state of ecstasy that is natural. And it's just a natural thing. It just occurs naturally. And when I was in that state, I remember just being like, never going near MDMA again because this is already insane. I literally was waking up and like first of all, I was barely sleeping. You weren't here when this was happening, but I was barely sleeping. And I was on this train of like, well, that's it. I'll never touch that medicine again because the Lord is showing me that this thing is literally within my blood and my DNA. It's in my spirit. It's coming through. And that was the most beautiful thing ever to experience that. And I think actually you did see a lot of it because when I came to Colorado, it was still very prevalent in my beingness. And we were both flying in Colorado. Like, that was just a dream.
One of the most beautiful time periods of my life.
Yeah, for me too. It was an absolute dream.
And our relationship.
So
it was bliss.
That's so beautiful that you had this moment because I feel like I had that exact moment at some point, and I don't remember it exactly, but at some point I remember you being kind of like, wow, that makes me really sad to hear that you might not ever do medicine or drugs again. And I was kind of like, yeah, I know. It kind of also makes me sad to feel into that. But that was where I was. And this morning, it was a full circle revelation for me too, of just feeling this energy and being like, nope, this is not it.
Wow, same.
In this setting, I would never touch medicine. No. I would never go into this setting and touch anything. No. So one of the threads I wanted to go down was that just as much as partying and drugs can become a loop, ceremonies and medicine can become a loop. And anything can become a loop. So it's important that like when we make these contrasts, we're not looking at one side saying this side is better. You should only sit in ceremony and consider it medicine because really it's all the exact same thing. It's all about the subjective intention and quality in which you approach this thing. But we know people who have become addicted to the process of going into ceremonies and healing loop, or just in the addiction of dropping into ceremonies without the concept of healing. So loops are everywhere, and I feel so strongly that this was one of those, an awareness of a loop that was like, whoa, thank you, Jesus, for showcasing this moment in time. But that was one of the things I wanted to call out, so there's not a misunderstanding as to one being better than the other.
Totally. And like we both definitely, I know I've experienced just like being in a loop, especially like on my healing journey with like my health. I'd get stuck in loops with like a certain belief or like doing a certain habit that was good at first, but after doing it for too long, it became kind of like toxic and attached.
You know what else I was going to say that came up for me while you were sharing what you were sharing was that if you read the Bhagavad Gita or any great text that is by a teacher who has reached a state of consciousness that is enlightenment, they don't mention really anything about, especially in the Gita, there's nothing about MDMA in there. No. They're doing yoga and they're meditating and they're talking about selfless service. By they, I mean Krishna. And that's so beautiful because as you go into peace, there isn't really anything else that you care to do other than selfless service, meditation, yoga, and all of that stuff. I feel like is kind of what we were talking about when you were like clean and organized and like flexible and healthy and like energized.
Taking care of the self.
Taking care
so
of
that you can connect to the uppercase self.
The self. So that you can connect to the self. Wow.
Which is spirit.
Mm-hmm.
God, universe, creator, whatever you want to call it.
You should touch on the differences. Just real quick. Self and self.
Yeah. So lowercase s self, your quote unquote little self, is your human, your ego.
Yeah.
That is not your highest self, you know? It's your animalistic brain, your left brain.
Yeah.
Right. And spirit, uppercase S self, your bigger self, is your connection to the divine. So God, creator, universe, spirit.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's a simple explanation.
Perfect.
Something I also wanted to share was just like the realization of like the expansion of my awareness and like my spiritual awareness and also your spiritual awareness, because we were both feeling similar things today.
Yeah.
We weren't even with each other during like the whole party except like one moment, but we were both in our own vibes. I was just like walking around the party. Like sometimes I'd go like straight in the center right in front of the Function One speakers.
You did?
Which were
Wow.
like penetrating my heart and soul, which felt good for a little bit, but like I felt the density of the people all around me. It was kind of like hard to move, and like I don't like that because I want to like dance and just like feel clear and free. And it didn't feel that way in there, which is okay. But anyways, yeah, I was just like walking around, kind of like scanning, just observing, feeling, like closing my eyes, dancing, and yeah, just like the awareness, the expansion of awareness that I felt within myself was so profound and beautiful because it just felt so clear and obvious. And I just know like in previous times when this would happen, or like going to parties or like settings like this, I wouldn't feel this. And it just came through so strong as like an inner knowing, which is like, whoa. And yeah, I just wanted to share that because yeah, just like such a big part of the journey and the process. And I feel like through that realizations came so many realizations today about my path and what I'm doing. Just like doubts that I had kind of like pushed away and erased, kind of like, not even erased, but like dissolved. Doubts and fears are dissolving because I have a greater knowing and sense of knowing in who I am. So yeah, it's really cool when your awareness expands, because in moments like those where you may not be feeling like the most aligned or vibey in a place, you're actually learning so much. So like, I'm so grateful for this experience that we had today of going to this festival and this party. And first of all, I want to say like, it is so beautiful. It is a festival of artists and creators.
Yeah, it's super beautiful.
A vision that was put together to bring all these amazing DJs and wellness people from everywhere. So like, it's a beautiful event. But yeah, just like realizing that the energy wasn't for me, and like that's okay. And yeah,
one of the things that came up for me is because right as we were about to leave, I remember I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go, and I started looking for you.
Wow.
And then as soon as I found you, you're like, I'm ready to go, and I was like, yep, okay, cool, we're on the same page. But when we were walking out and you were expressing how you felt and you were starting to like cry a little bit, I was feeling like, wow, I hope You're not doubting your intuition of just knowing this is not where you're supposed to be, you know. And to hear you speak about all these realizations is really beautiful, because part of me felt like, oh, I know that you know that this isn't it.
I know that you know that you know.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah,
and that's what's so beautiful about your intuition, is you feel so deeply that, and I think this is a big aspect in human consciousness, where intuitive empaths who don't know that they're intuitive empaths get labeled as overly sensitive, and they might be in a large crowd of people and start feeling super isolated or super sad or super this. And then they start to think something's wrong with them.
They doubt themselves.
And then they doubt their own inner experience and their own inner intuition, because they don't know that that's inner intuition. So it's super profound to come to this place of just being in a massive crowd of people that are flying on heart-opening medicines and know that, oh yeah, this isn't the place for me.
Wow, I'm so happy that you said that, because like, wow, I struggled with that for my whole life. Just like doubting my intuition and not trusting what I'm feeling, and feeling like there's something wrong with me, that I'm quote unquote the problem, or like I just can't vibe with everyone. But yeah, like now I know that no, it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not me, you know. Mm-hmm. Like I just don't resonate or vibe, and that's okay. That's me. I'm just gonna keep carrying on in the knowing of who I am, and I'm so grateful, because you said, you know, you're not. That's not where you're supposed to be, but today that is where we were supposed to be.
That is where we were supposed to be. Wow.
That's what allowed us to see so clearly and like get that download come through so strong of the knowing of what we want and like who we are, essentially.
Yeah. Oh,
so beautiful.
So beautiful. And that's why I was like, wow, this is the best money I've ever spent on this ticket.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this is truly a lesson from the universe.
Yeah.
Huge lesson. Yep.
Yeah.
I think we did it.
We did it.
I don't feel
Is there anything else? I feel like there was a few other things that we were sharing this morning that were pretty profound.
Well, I think that probably what someone would be wondering is like, well, if that's not it, if the most incredible and most beautiful party on the most gorgeous mountaintop is with the most beautiful music is not it, what is it?
That's a good, wow.
And you briefly scratched the surface on it, and I'll touch on what I feel it is for me. For me, it feels like connection to source, whether that be through being in nature and by myself with only a river and some trees, or whether that be with friends and partner, holy company in this moment doing a podcast together. But my sense of it has a foundation of peace. And so it doesn't look like a bunch of people zombied out on medicines or like a ridiculous amount of, drugs or alcohol or like a mix of absolutely everything. I mean, some people were falling over, and like, I'm just, oof, man, there's some souls out here that really need help getting up, like literally, physically and metaphysically. So peace is what it is. And that probably looks like having a really clean home. Doing ecstatic dances feels wonderful. This was actually the revelation that came through this morning. I was like, wow, babe, now I get why so many people around the world gather to do these cacao ceremonies, because they literally just drink chocolate. It's just chocolate. It's just chocolate.
The purest
form of chocolate. And it's blessed as they cook it, and it comes from some beautiful tribe that, whatever, and handpicks it, and yada, yada. And you drink this cacao, and you dance to good music with people that also drank the cacao. no quote unquote drugs, even though you could easily slap a label on cacao and call it a drug because it's scientifically proven to open your heart, which MDMA does the exact same thing. But nope, chocolate is a dessert. So I feel like cacao circles and song circles, ecstatic dances, those are like the type of quote unquote parties that I feel called to attend to.
Yeah. Wow. I'll share do you feel
No,
complete?
yeah, go for it.
So for me, similar. I feel that what I feel is it for me is just like peace, you know?
Yeah.
Peace, harmony, joy, and just like simplicity. So like being in nature, going on adventures, just like spending time with holy company, people that are aware of their own divinity and like are connected to source. Yeah, having gatherings, connecting to my body, doing things like yoga or like exercising, going for a run, embodiment practices, authentic expression, even like writing, doing a podcast. Like right now, what we're doing, like sharing these experiences and our expansion of consciousness and like our realizations is like so fulfilling to me.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
This is so exciting to like capture this and like share it with the world. I don't care how many people see it, but I'm just like happy it's out, you know?
Yeah.
Even like for our own sake to like look back at this one day and show this to our kids and like, our friends. Like it's so dope. So yeah, just like simplicity, making healthy foods.
Yeah.
I'm a homebody. Like I'm not gonna say I don't need much, but like nature, people I love, time with myself, connecting to God.
Yeah.
Really, that's it. You know? And like music and partying once in a while is fun, but mindfully.
Yeah.
And like drugs don't need to be involved. It just needs to be a beautiful, mindful, intentional setting. Cultivated with love.
Yes.
With people on the same wavelength.
Yes.
That was a lot, but
No, I love that.
Yeah, context.
I would like to simplify mine by saying music, art, cleanliness, organization, writing, sharing, capturing consciousness, sharing consciousness. I'd say those things are super exciting.
Amen. I love all of that.
Something else about this I want to just call out is that it's a super real thing. Yet you can't see it in the physical with your human eyes, but you can feel it with your third eye and with your spirit. That when you walk into a party setting and there are people blasted out of their minds on a million different substances, or even just one, there's a lot of spirits flying around. And there's a lot of diamonds flying around and entities attaching and detaching. And you can feel it. You can see it. It doesn't take a strong degree of awareness to see when someone's got a serious entity attached. I saw like 4. I didn't even talk to you about this. This is one being that I saw that looked like a depressed slug. And and I felt for him and sent him love because I just saw so my interpretation of entities, they will manifest through the physical body in, certain expressions, certain movements, certain ways in which the being expresses themselves. Yeah. You could easily say, well, that person is just expressing themselves as being sad. Well, like it's so subjective. You have to see it and feel it and know it. But you're putting yourself in a position where you could easily pick up an entity. And that's why it's also super important to have spiritual hygiene. And we made a whole episode on that about how to protect your energy. And that's super simple. It's not too complicated, but even if you do protect your energy, why are you putting yourself in a portal, like a Pandora's box?
Super vulnerable space.
Super, super vulnerable space. Very different when everyone is just drinking cacao and everyone's sober.
Yeah.
Very, very different. The energy is so much more pure and light.
Clarity.
And that is such a quality of, wow, okay, got it.
Yeah. I also want to say, like, the way in which I showed up this morning was really like balanced and centered.
Yeah.
Like I felt super like, all right, like let's go, like let's dance. Like I'm just gonna vibe, be in my own space, connect with the people I love. And yeah. And when you're in a space of centeredness and groundedness and who you are and like just overall balance, you can feel who's not. And like the energetic difference is so like massive that it becomes like obvious. Yeah. And it takes time to become centered in your being and like feel comfortable and safe in who you are. But wow, I felt that contrast this morning of like, all right, I'm here, I'm feeling super balanced and centered, but I'm feeling dysregulated all of a sudden, like all around me, because I feel all these people so deeply and I feel that they're chasing something or they're like lost in this loop or like going after something, looking for something. I'm like, guys, like, whoa, this is a lot. This is intense for me in that moment, being in a space of feeling grounded and in peace with myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt that too.
Yeah.
Super grounded, super chill.
Super chill.
And it was funny to witness people come up to me that are just blasted open in their hearts, flying on the heart medicine. And me just be like, yeah, man, like I just woke up. just drinking my tea. Want some tea? So. Yeah, I think we did it.
We did it.
Yay. We did it. Did it. Let's see if we can give everybody a beautiful outro track.
Yeah. How long are we at?
48.
Nice.
48.
Wow, solid.
That's partying and drugs and medicine, everybody. Please be careful out there. Subjectively, do your best to just follow your heart.
Trust your intuition.
Trust your intuition.
Trust your vibes.
If you don't trust your intuition, find someone who does.
Yeah.
And ask them.
Yeah.
But more importantly, probably figure out how to trust your own intuition.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Well, we love you guys. Thank you for joining us if you're still here. And we're excited to share more realizations and revelations and consciousness with you soon.
Yay. Thanks for tuning into Satori and also love you.
High five.
Yay. Bye-bye. 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 Ow.